What is up, my fellow Chibits? Today, I'm here to bring all of you the weekly Tokyo Ghoul video. This time, I'm not going to be doing a live reaction because I feel like this chapter deserves more of a review than actually a live reaction. There is some things that are relatively funny and could use a live reaction, but personally, I wanted to just sit down and do a review on this chapter. So, here I am. Now, once again, I'm just going to say very sorry for, probably this video being up a little bit late. You all know how it is when it comes to rendering and stuff. I say constantly on Twitter, it takes hours to get these videos up just because of rendering, not even counting editing, thumbnail, stuff like that, and then also researching and stuff. So please forgive me for the delay in this video, probably very late Saturday or probably early morning Sunday. Just please forgive me. Now that I'm here, let's just say right now, this chapter has a whole lot of information and some very good comedy moments that I will get into. But let's talk about the information we get right at the start. A flashback. Now, as we all found out with the end of last week's chapter, we found out about a organization, the Great Will organization, that is a human organization that helps out ghouls. And as we know, thanks to, how CCG is, Washoes, V, they don't want that shit. They don't want, humans helping out ghouls. It's just not something you should do. That'll cause a lot of problems. You'll be hunted down and silenced. And we are getting a little bit of backstory on a character called Ogra. Now, as we know, this character was introduced since the first chapter, the beginning of Tokyo Ghoul. This man seemed like someone that you would never see again. I mean, if this would have been any other manga, a character like Ogra being shown in the first chapter on a TV screen and all that, probably would never have popped up again. If this was a normal manga, it wouldn't have happened. Because, I mean, that's just how insignificant characters like that usually are in manga, or any forms of literature, or even live action shows. That's just how insignificant they really are. They were just there to kind of give us exposition. That's all it was for. That's what we all assumed it was for, and in a way it still kind of was. But I mean, in reality, this character had so much more for the plot than we even knew. I mean, look at Furuta's origins and all that. It still blows my mind to this day how crazy of importance Furuta is to this day of Tokyo Ghoul. And now this right here, Ogra and his importance now to the plot, even though he seems someone that didn't seem to be like anyone interesting at all. I mean, I remember many people making fun of this character, saying like he's like an Einstein or something. Even I did when I first saw this character and my impressions of this character a long time ago when I got into Tokyo Ghoul. I was like, this man kind of looks a little bit like Einstein, the way he's being shown and stuff. Like, what the fuck? So just to see this character Ogra actually, being important and relevant to the plot in this chapter, chapter 103 of Tokyo Ghoul so many chapters down the line, it just blows my fucking mind. And I mean, it's only Ishida Sensei I see that can do something like this. Characters you never see or thought possible that could be so irrelevant become relevant in the future. And so this just proves, once again, no matter how minor the character is in Tokyo Ghoul, there is a very likely and potential possibility they are important to the plot, even if they seem like characters you'll never remember ever again. Just a character like Ogra being this important just proves, once again, Ishida Sensei is concreting, don't look over any character that seems fucking ordinary, seems minor, seems like they wouldn't be important at all. Don't look over any of those characters. So, let's talk about the backstory here. So, Teho University. This is a flashback page, one little flashback page actually, just focused on Ogra, his life in school with Dr. Kano. Yes, you heard me, Dr. Kano. Now, as we know, Dr. Kano, he is someone that's just very warped. He's a very warped individual. We know he definitely has his reasons and motives, and I mean, he's morally gray. He does evil things probably for the sake of good reason, but I mean, right now though, we don't know a whole lot about Dr. Kano. We just know he's someone that has very big plans, and he has something that he really wants to accomplish before his life ends. And when we see this flashback, we get to see Dr. Kano in his early days, him being someone very young. You see Dr. Kano, he looks very young. I mean, very different from how we normally see him. He's someone that has, solid white hair. He's someone that looks old and stuff. He seems like he's very wise. That's how, Dr. Kano presents himself throughout the series of Tokyo Ghoul. And when we see someone like this that's entering, college, the University of Teho, like, holy crap, this is a very young version of Dr. Kano. Just look at this man. You can see how how he has this spark in his eyes, even though he's looking at them, and you even see to where Ogre, he states, he looked at us as if he looked at a bug, and pretty much what he means by that is, his eyes were not focusing on Ogre or anyone in that room. He was focusing on something much bigger. He is focusing on something that was beyond anyone's comprehension in that room. Ogre could not understand what Dr. Kano was looking at, but the way he viewed them was so insignificant that they weren't even important, which relates to Ogre's character in the first place, which I find that very funny. Maybe I'm looking too deep into that, but I mean, when you think about it, the way Dr. Kano is viewing Ogre in this flashback, it's exactly how we as people reading Tokyo Ghoul looked at Ogre before we saw last week's chapter in this chapter. Just think about that for a second. The way Dr. Kano is looking at Ogre is very similar to how we were. Well, pretty much, we are Dr. Kano looking at Ogre as if he is so insignificant. He's like a fucking bug compared to everybody else throughout the series of Tokyo Ghoul. But then this. Ishida, my boy. Ishida Sensei always gets me. This man always manages to surprise me with the way he writes his series, and the way he can kind of make the meaning of some of these scenes reflect onto us, the viewer. So, yeah, I mean, you could take it as this. Dr. Kano looking at Ogre like that is us, the reader, but also Dr. Kano looking at him like bugs shows that he had a bigger motive, a bigger role. He didn't care about anyone. He was not looking at them. He was looking behind them, whatever he wanted, what he's trying to accomplish. You know, we know Dr. Kano has big dreams. So, with this being said, the flashback, very interesting, just to see what type of early life, you know, Dr. Kano kind of had, but also Ogre. It was a very short little flashback, but it was enough information to let us know that there was more to Dr. Kano than what meets the eye, which we already knew, but this once again dives more into his character. And also, Ogre as a character, he may be insignificant on the path, like he's a little pebble, but he is someone that's probably going to cause a bump. He's going to be someone that causes a major bump in the future of the plot of Tokyo Ghoul because of this one panel, this page alone. So, anyways, let's carry on. Let's carry on to the information we got. So, Taeho University. I actually decided to look up the university. I went to the wiki to look it up just to see if there's any information prior before I actually did the video, and this is all the information that pops up on the wiki. Most likely I'll have it in the description if you go check it out for yourself, but if for some case I don't, I'm going to read off kind of the main contents of it. So there's not really much known about Taeho University, there really isn't. The only things we know is it's a college for School of Medicine, Engineering, Information Engineering, and there's only 3 students that we're kind of aware of. We're aware of Dr. Kano being a part of school, we're aware of Ogura being a part of school, and then the interesting character, Mabuchi. Mabuchi's character was a part of the school. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, so who's Katsuya Mabuchi? Who the fuck is this Chibi? So, don't worry, I want to, you know, pull his page up on the wiki and kind of read him for you. We've all met him before, but you just might not remember him because there's just so many characters in Tokyo Ghoul. So, he was debuted in the manga of Tokyo Ghoul on Chapter 60. That's when he made his first appearance in Tokyo Ghoul. Part 1 was Chapter 60. Now, here's kind of his, you know, overall summary. Katsuya Mabuchi is a rank 1 ghoul investigator and is a part of Division 2. He is a subordinate of Itsuki Marude. Now, I think everybody knows who Marude is. He is very important to the plot right now. He's kind of like a wild card for Kaneki's organization because Marude, he found out the truth about CCG and the Washus. Marude was the one that really discovered everything. He was the one that was closely connected to Hide, and also he was a very smart individual, and we know he escaped. He's not dead right now. We know he is not dead. He managed to get out. And so with the way he is, what type of character he is, how smart he is, how he comes up with these battle plans against ghouls, well, for what we've seen through him throughout the series of Tokyo Ghoul Part 1 and even 2, we know this is a man that you should not underestimate, and with him not really being a part of CCG, he's kind of, you know, got away from them, he defected away. We know this man might eventually join Kaneki. Since he knows the truth, he might join GOAT, the organization GOAT, to be able to help them out. And so, with this character, Katsuya Mabuchi, popping up and being in the exact same school as someone like Dr. Kano and Ogura, this man stands out to me. Now, I could be just going too far here, but knowing Ishida, I feel like he knows people are going to be looking at this university and figuring out, okay, so who all went to this university besides Dr. Kano and stuff? Katsuya Mabuchi. Now, at this time, if you look at his track record, he doesn't have anything necessarily special to him. He's just someone that was a professional gamer that was eventually scouted by Marade. It's like, hey, I want you on my team. I want you to be able to, do tactics and stuff because you're a professional gamer. You were someone that, took it to a national tournament and you won. You led your team to victory. He was very good at strategy games and first-person shooters. So, I mean, on paper, it doesn't seem like anything impressive, but you have to have a very good mind to do some of these things, especially going to a national tournament and winning. He was someone very smart, and Marade saw this and recruited him into CCG. So this man is in Marade's pocket. He's someone that actually became a part of CCG thanks to Marade. And he's also intelligent. So there is a possibility that Marade is staying in contact with this man, giving him information, and this man might also be kind of like an insider of CCG that could possibly be connected to Marade. And then Marade, if he joins Goat's organization, they can get information from this man to be able to help out Kaneki and whatever's going on in CCG, and also whatever Furuta is trying to do, his own moves. That's kind of like his own clown. That's kind of how you can look at this. It's like, Marade has his own clown in the organization. But yeah, I feel like this character is definitely someone that's going to be important. For him to have, or be in the same school as Dr. Kano, which is a very, very, very important to Tokyo Ghoul, and then now Ogre being very important. He might not be the biggest of importance of characters, but he's definitely important right now. This character being attached to that school, and he's the only other character we know about that is a part of that school at this time. This guy is definitely going to be important. Now, let me read one thing, a quote from him, actually, which is a part of his personality. You remember the testament, how you write your will and testament, how all CCG members, before they do a big operation, they do a testament before they, go on it? Remember Arima, he left his entire testament blank. There was a lot of meaning to it. I covered that in the past, not going to get into that. But as we know, a bunch of CCG agents, they always, or all of them, when they go on an operation, they write a testament. And they always leave their thoughts for whoever reads it, like their family, friends, or whatever. And this is the personality of this character, which might be important. This is what he said. He's like, yeah, I died. I don't need a funeral. Bye. I'm not even shitting you. That's what he said on his testament. Yeah, I died. I don't need a funeral. Bye. So, that one line alone doesn't make this character very interesting. I don't know what does. Because for someone to be such a minor character, and then the focus of this chapter focusing on a minor character, yeah, Ishida's pointing at something. He's pointing at something. So yeah, let's all remember right now, I'm calling you right now, this character, Mabuchi, is going to be very critical to whatever Marade has planned, and also probably for the GOAT organization, and probably changing CCG from the inside. I could definitely see this character being very important. Now, with that said, let's carry on to the next thing. So after that's all done, Dr. Ogre, he talks about his past. For instance, when we, as the reader, first met him, he's like, they're asking, like, Dr. Ogre, was it? If I remember correctly, weren't you? Yes, I've seen you on TV. And then Tsukiyama's like, you've spread quite a bit of nonsense about us, haven't you? Pretty much saying about a bunch of lies, or just, kind of scrambling away from the truth, just, spreading it thin. He wasn't really telling true facts. And Ogre says, I've come to regret much of what I said back then. Quite embarrassing, really. I'm sorry. And he's like, at the moment, however, I am but the Vice Secretary of the Great Will Act. So let's just look at this real quick, okay? This seems very minor. It seems like something that we shouldn't really care about, but this, in reality, is actually character development for a minor character. Not just his backstory that was revealed, but this is character development for a man realizing how wrong he was in the past. He realized he is someone that was, kind of spreading the truth very thin. He wasn't someone that was really telling the truth. He was doing a lot of nonsense on TV and stuff just to get big and all that, and it just didn't seem like there was anything important about him, and he realized what he was doing was very wrong. He's very sorry, and he's embarrassed for what he did, and I mean, the way he actually admits that just shows he has matured after the beginning of Tokyo Ghoul. He's matured so much more after that. So, I'm really glad. I'm really glad to see Ishida is offering development for minor characters. It's not often you see something like this, but once again, this is Ishida, and we know he's someone that does stuff like this. He's someone that develops characters constantly, or he throws a little hint at a character, and they'll pop up maybe 100 or 200 chapters down the road. That's just the type of writer Ishida is, and so with this alone, this character just admitting he was wrong and what he did, he regrets, and he's sorry about, and he's embarrassed, all these emotions he felt, This is good. This is very good. That's good development we're seeing. We're seeing how this man has changed. I would like to see what came to him to make him start regretting, though. I really wish we would get a little bit more details on this. Like, why does he completely regret what he did? I mean, he knows what he was saying was nonsense or whatever, but I mean, I would like to see a little bit more to it, but we'll see where that goes. So anyways, let's talk about his position. Right now, he is the Vice Secretary of the Great Will Act. That means that Ogra and this person behind him is probably, they're not, you know, the main leaders. The person behind is probably not the leader, probably not, you know, the actual leader or anything. So this man being a Vice Secretary of the Great Will Act, it lets us know that there is a major player in the group that we have yet to see. And there is hints of who it could possibly be, which I will get into. But right at this moment, though, what you have right here is that he states his position. So we know he's not the top of the food chain. There's other characters that could possibly pop up that are stronger in this organization, and probably we might have met these characters already. That's a very potential possibility, knowing Ishida. I mean, he does that all the time. So after that being revealed, Tsukiyama, he makes his threats, which is to actually be respected. I respect Tsukiyama for doing this because it's just common sense. He's like, I'm surprised just the two of you made it all the way out here. If we have happened to be less than friendly, what would you have done? I mean, you've got to think about it like this from, you know, a human perspective and also a ghoul perspective. Even though we know Kaneki's organization, they're not going to do shit to these guys. They're not going to attack the Great Will Act unless they do something very crusty and shitty to them. You know, Tsukiyama, they're not going to attack, okay? But what Tsukiyama says does speak truth, because you got to think about it like this. There is a potential possibility a ghoul, even if you're a part of an organization like he's a part of trying to help out ghouls, there's still going to be ghouls that want to kill you, eat you for food. That's just common sense. That's just how it is. So going out there with just those two alone, it seems very, very bad. It doesn't seem like it would be a very smart move, because you could meet very unfriendly people that would call you out here. And so Tsukiyama testing him. He's just testing him to see, like, okay, do you understand the situation you're in? Like, if it would have been anyone else, like a normal ghoul or whatever in this area, you probably would have got killed right on the spot. So count yourself lucky. And he's just trying to scare them to make them realize what is going on. But then Ogra, he pops up and is like, yes, I only give my business card to individuals I can trust. And when you see Nishiki pop up, he's like, individuals you can trust. And then he just realizes the key point right there. And so this means that, you know, Nico, him getting the card, the business card, that proves right then and there how trustworthy he is. That this man Ogra trusts him enough, unless Nico got the card without him even realizing. This proves that Nico, you know, he's trustworthy. He's not someone that will, you know, tell someone about a secret or whatever, like something that can, you know, get you killed in the matter. And that's kind of what we got going on here. So Nico proving that he is trustworthy, and also Ogre is saying, I only give out my business card to people I legit trust. If someone calls me or whatever, and it's by this person, usually I know I can trust him, because that's the only time I give out these cards. So Nishiki's thinking like, oh, so this man can be trusted. So there we go. We got a little bit more information on Nico and how he can be kind of trusted. Not completely, because there's something else going on with him, but we now know he, at the very least, he does keep his trust with others. You know, when it comes to someone like this, like an individual with a card and all that, he gave it to them because he knew that Kaneki and them wouldn't do anything to these guys. So carrying on, let's talk about this. Kaneki says, I have no interest on how you managed to make your way here. For instance, he has no interest in how you became your organization. He has no interest in who founded the organization. He has no interest in how you managed to come to this place to begin with. He doesn't care at all. He gives no shits at all. But what he does care about is knowing, do you have a medical team at your disposal? Can you help us? And so Kaneki getting straight to the point as like someone that would be a leader. He's like, I don't want the small talk. I don't want to know everything. That's fine. We could talk about when, you know, this ain't important matters. But right now, I need to know, we need to talk business. So Ogre is like, yes. And he's like, outwardly, our team specializes in the care of humans. So the outward appearance of this organization, the Great Will Act, it looks like they just specialize on caring for people. And he's like, within the organization, there are those who are well informed about ghouls. For instance, you have to be deep in the organization center, the heart of it, to get the true information. It's kind of like a business. Like, if it's a very secretive organization or a big business that has a secret to hide, like, for instance, let's just think of Washoes v. CCG, perfect example. That's kind of what he's saying. Like, you have to be very deep inside of the organization to really know what is going on. For instance, to be well informed about the ghouls and what we do. He's like, we possess the knowledge required to treat a ghoul as well. He's like, the people deeper in the organization know and have ideas of how we can help out ghouls if they get hurt. Not just humans, which is the outward appearance that probably maybe 90 or 60 or 80%, just random numbers I'm throwing out, the staff knows about. While the main heart of the organization, they know the truth. And so, with, Nishiki once again thinks in his mind, he's like, someone well-informed about ghouls and able to treat and heal patients. So, like, someone's giving, a lot of information about ghouls to Ogra and this organization, the Great Will organization. They're getting a lot of information about ghouls. So, because of this, it's just offering up a lot of flags right now. You're like, okay, so they're getting all this information. Someone's very well informed about ghouls, which that's a potential possibility. There's probably a ghoul amongst their organization, or B, someone that is very high up there, that's a very big member possibly of CCG, is probably a part of their organization, or someone that's been around ghouls for majority of their life. Something along the lines of that. So, someone very mysterious has joined the Great Will Act, which we need to know. And he's like, well then, shall we move somewhere more convenient? That's kind of what goes on next. And they go into karaoke, which, this is, I don't even know how to feel about this segment, because it's so funny, even though there's a lot of serious things going on in this moment. It's just so funny when you realize what's going on. Like, they're in a section to do karaoke, sing, and Sukiyama fucking starts singing, like, oh, my boy Sukiyama, he's fucking singing, and to make it even funnier, Sukiyama, he's singing something which I didn't realize until Achievement pointed out on Twitter, which I gotta compliment. It's just like, just to see how this was done, this makes me respect the character of Sukiyama so much more, because he starts singing Whole New World. If you don't know what that song is, it's from Aladdin. And yes, I'm tone deaf. Don't kill me. But I mean, if you don't know what Aladdin is, the Disney movie Aladdin and a whole new world, that is what Sukiyama is singing. He says this, I can show, like you see how the H is cut off. He's like, tell me, princess. And you just see how it's all scrambled up with words. And then you see, open your eyes. And then a couple lines later, by wonder. I'll have the link to the Aladdin song in the description if you want to see it for yourself. And yes, he is singing, I could show you the world. They're just like, oh my god. Sukiyama has watched Aladdin. This man has watched Aladdin. He has seen this. It's fucking great. It's fucking great just seeing his character Sukiyama singing A Whole New World. It explains a lot about his character. It really does. Why he's like princess and stuff. Just it makes so much more sense when you really think about the character Sukiyama. So yeah, this is a little bit of a characterization we got for Sukiyama in this chapter. He knows a whole new world. So yeah. Anyways, jokes aside, the next important thing is Kaneki asks, okay, so who is the well-informed person part of your organization? And Ogre's like, originally, Great Will Act was an organization founded on student activities. For instance, just a club. Student activities? Yes. Initially, students of Kami University founded the organization and composed most of the members. Our group has existed and been active since before Takasuki publicly announced the fact that she was a ghoul. And then the next part right after that I gotta talk about, it's just Nishiki's like, damn, he's good at singing. Just like, this man's singing pretty good. So Nishiki giving this man some compliments. I really, really wish the anime of Tokyo Ghoul wasn't fucking shit, because I would love to see Sukiyama singing. I really would. I would really love to see this man sing, or hear him sing. But anyways, getting back on topic though, Kami University. That is a name which brings us all back. If you don't know, that's the university that Kaneki went to, Hide went to, even Furuto was supposed to be there, because we saw him there. So, Kami University is something that is very connected to some of our characters, which I pulled up the wiki page, and I looked at all of what the, activities or the departments of the, college is, and also who was a part of the college. Kami University is organized into departments. Department of International Studies, Foreign Language Studies, English, Department of Literature, Japanese Literature, Department of Medicine, and Department of Pharmacy, Pharmaceutical Science. So when you think about it like that, that's the different type of departments that the school offers, okay? Kami University. Now here's the students. Kin Kaneki, freshman, Japanese Literature, Department of Literature formerly. Hideyoshi, which is Hide, freshman, later sophomore from Volume 9 of Tokyo Ghoul, Foreign Language Studies with major English, Department of International Studies formerly. Now, Kimi, which is also someone that was connected to Nishiki. Kimi, sophomore, later junior from Volume 9, Medicine, Department of Medicine, unknown. Nishiki Nishio, sophomore, later junior from Volume 9 on Pharmaceutical Science, Department of Pharmacy, formerly. And then Kiyama, Occult Research Club, president, and also Sankyo Occult Research Club. Now, there's probably two characters in that I just said, which was the last two, which you probably don't really recognize at all. You're probably like, who the fuck is Kiyama and Sanko? Who the fuck are these? I know who Kimi is, I know who Nishiki is, I know who Hideyoshi is, which is Hide, I know who Kin is, so who are these two characters, Kiyama and Sanko? Like, they just seem so out of place in the school compared to everything else, which I will talk about them in just a second. But if we look at this, though, as this man said, Ogre said that the organization, like, it was kind of founded on Kami University students. That's kind of how it was founded. And when you think about it like this, you have it to where a lot of these characters that were in this university are very, very important. For instance, Kaneki, main character. Hideyoshi, we know that was a very, very important character. Still important. We don't know if he's really dead, but, I mean, there's a potential possibility he is because of, you know, the flashbacks and stuff. But, I mean, we don't know if he's dead yet. We know Kimi, she's very important. She's with Dr. Kana right now, and there's a lot of things going on with her. Nishiki as well, we know him as a character. He is with Kaneki right now, and he's very important too. And so, the only two characters that really stand out in this university that we know of or aware of is Kiyama and Sanko. Who the fuck are these two? So, here, let me pull up their page now. These two characters were introduced in Tokyo Ghoul Days. Now, you probably don't know what that is if you don't really go out of your way to find out all the other stuff about Tokyo Ghoul, but Tokyo Ghoul Days is a novel of Tokyo Ghoul, and personally, I have not read it, so I don't really know a whole lot of information about these two characters, but I do, however, know some information about Sankyo, because she was also in the OVA, and you know, the OVA, you know, it's an OVA, and we know how the anime is in Tokyo Ghoul. It's probably not the bestly presented way to introduce a character, but Sanko was in the OVA of Tokyo Ghoul OVA's Pinto. And so, if you watch that, you kind of probably recognize this character, and at the same time, we know she is a ghoul and she works with Tsukiyama. So, having a connection to Tsukiyama, being a part of this school, instantly she's a very important character. So, she's probably going to pop up very soon. But on top of that, too, we have this other character, Kiyama. He is a part of Tokyo Ghoul Days. He's never been in the anime, so we don't know how he would look in an anime. He's only been in the novel. Now, Kiyama, he is the president of the Occult Research Club at the Kami University, and he is fascinated by supernatural and interested in investigating any student that could be ghouls. So he has a fascination about ghouls. He wants to research ghouls, figure more about them, just, you know, he wants to investigate them some. And since one of his members is also a ghoul, which he's unaware of at this time, but I personally haven't read, you know, Tokyo Ghoul Days, so I don't know. But from what I can see here, he's unaware of that there is a ghoul in his group, in his club, but he's very interested. And this character doesn't really stand out. He seems to be someone that would be, for instance, a bug or a pebble on the side of the road. So, judging by Ishida in the way he kind of focused this chapter on a very minor character, most likely this character is going to be very important as well. Kiyama probably will pop up very soon, so we need to take note of this character right now. Now, with that being said, let's move on to the next segment. After they formed this organization, they were subjected to very strict regulations. For instance, V, Washus, and all them, CCG, they kind of intervened and forced the group to disband because they were doing things that were out of what they should normally do. They shouldn't be looking into trying to befriend ghouls. And so, obviously, since the organization, or, you know, the organization V, they have the entire world in a birdcage, they wouldn't let something like this actually happen. And so, this group was forced to disband altogether. And so, because of that, they just, on paper, or outward appearance, they seemed like they were just doing, you know, research for humans. They seemed like they were helping out humans, medical research and stuff like that. But in the actual main center, they still remain the same. They still were doing the exact same thing, the principle that made them in the first place. And when Kaneki asks, principle, and he says, and with quotations, we just happen to be born human. Which, that right there, fucking amazing. Fucking amazing. Fucking amazing. We just happen to be born human. When you think about it like that, it goes back to all I've said in the past about ghouls and humans. They're very, very similar. Different ways, but very similar. It's just like ghouls are a subspecies of humanity. And if they could figure out a way to deal with RC cells and stuff, they'd be completely fine. And this right here shows is like, we're just lucky. We were just born human. That's all. If we were born ghouls, obviously, even if we had our personality right now, they would hunt us down and try to kill us. So he thinks about it like that. He's like, they're not really different, ghouls or humans. But I mean, it's just we're lucky that we were born on the side. It's like, you know, how wars were in the past, or wars to this day. Battlefield lines are drawn because of the side you're born on. And so that's kind of what's going on here. It's like, we were born human. We were lucky to be born human. And that's why we're not being done like that. But at the same time, he's like, we're not much different, both sides. And he goes along the line to say just how both sides, they need to come to an understanding and all that, and how the world is kind of trapped in a birdcage. Because if you look closely, you see birdcage symbolism on the bottom right of this page. You see a bird with arms wrapping around it. So, yeah, just instantly birdcage symbolism. After all that was said and done, though, Ogre goes even further to say the person that, you know, had this idea and had this belief was actually someone that was a part of our organization. It was a medical student, and it's later revealed actually to be Chibi. Now, as we know, Chibi, she's a very important character. I already kind of covered her. She's, you know, Nishiki's girlfriend, got pretty much wife, fiance, and right now she's with Dr. Kano. We know Nishiki's not a big fan of that right now. We don't really know all what's going on with Chibi at this time. We have no idea. We just know she is a researcher working with Dr. Kano. And from what we see right here, Chibi is someone that actually had a great understanding of ghouls because, you know, being with Nishiki, but at the same time, she became a part of this organization because she wanted to figure out ways how she can help her lover, help out Nishiki, and that's what's going on right here. For instance, she went out of her way to join this organization, but then also joined Dr. Kano to be able to help out Nishiki in the first place. And right after that, you see Nishiki, he gets very upset and just gets, you just see this tear. It looks like he has a little tear coming out of his eye, but also you just see that, you know, he's very, very, very in pain right now because when he realizes this, because he knows who is actually doing it. And when you see this, Kaneki keys in. He keys in. He's like, He doesn't say nothing, but he keys in on it. And you know Nishiki's very pained by this revelation and what's really going on. And you gotta really feel bad for this character, Nishiki, right now. He's been through so much. He was kind of a shitty character at the beginning. I mean, he was kind of like an asshole. But when you actually look at him now and how good he has been, he's helping out Kaneki, he's helped out so many other characters and stuff. He's not a bad guy. Now, I feel like this character needs a little bit more respect and all that. And I don't think many people really respect Nishiki, the character, as much as they should. And just seeing this man acting like that, just getting very upset and all that, I feel bad. I really feel bad for Nishiki. And I do hope everything works out in the end between him and Chibi and nothing really bad is going to happen. So, with that being said, the matter moves on, and they talk about how ghouls and humans are very similar in terms of how their body is to treatment. And this, once again, just concretes more of my theories of what I said in the past about humans and ghouls. Not going to get into it, but it once again just shows that they're not very different. The only thing different about ghouls and humans is RC cells and the Kakuho organ, which probably went against and adapted to the ROS disease, and that's kind of why ghouls were even born in the first place. Probably like some form of side effect to ROS. And with this right here, is like, if you could somehow suppress the RC cells, ghouls and humans, they're not really different. You can actually heal them in the exact same way. Just the RC cells that cause a problem, you know, just opening a ghoul up or whatever. So when you look at it like this, once again concreting the fact that both species, not really that different. And the only way to actually make it to where an operation is possible for a ghoul, or to operate on a ghoul instead of a human, is RC cell suppressants. So when you look at it like this, RC suppressant drug, we know this has been something that's popped up constantly throughout Tokyo Ghoul. We know that Jason used it on Kaneki. We know Kaneki had to be taking it and all that throughout his, you know, time with, you know, CCG, Tokyo Ghoul Re, the beginning part of it. So, as we know, Kaneki knows very well what the RC suppressant drug is. And when they ask, like, the only way you could get this is by, you know, labs from, you know, CCG, like, they're really well guarded, Kaneki's like, yes, I know and all that, that's the only way to get it. So they're going to have to raid a lab to be able to get this drug to help out Akira in the first place. So it's already resulted in going after CCG to try to get this drug. But then Kaneki goes on to say that I know how the drug smells. I know how it is. I will never forget how that drug smells in the first place. Which reveals, once again, just how much torment Kaneki went through when it came to Jason. And also probably his time with CCG. He knows what the drug is like. He knows how it smells. You can see Jason and also CCG left a very huge impact on him when it came to this certain smell. That's kind of like when you think about pizza. You can always remember that certain smell of something you truly like or you dislike. And that's kind of what it is. Like, I'll never forget that odor I smelt the RC suppressant drug. I can never forget it. So with Kaneki saying that, you're like, holy shit. Like, you just kind of realize how much of an impact that torture really had on him. I mean, we know it had a big impact, yes, obviously, but just the smell alone of that, for him to be able to remember that, just shows how vividly he remembers that point of his life. And then once all that's said and done, is pretty much the, conversation, the meeting is done. Ogra and all that, they go out, and then that's pretty much said and done right then and there. And Nishiki, Tsukiyama, and Kaneki, they just have a little bit of a break. Kaneki tries to confront Nishiki about, the girl, the founder of the Great Will Act, which we found out was Kimi. But Nishiki just brushes off. He's like, I know you already know. He's like, just shut the fuck up, Kaneki. We got this room for a while. Just join me in singing. That right there just shows how they bonded together. And the way Kaneki talks about these, like, he's trying to look out for a friend. And Nishiki realizes, and he's just like, just shut the fuck up. Let's just sing. And let's just, join me for, some karaoke. And this is the funny moment. I had a good laugh, actually, which would have been a very good moment for a live reaction, but I don't think it was just that enough, just probably to warrant a live reaction. But these three start to sing Unravel. Yeah, if you know what Unravel is, which you should, if you're a Tokyo Ghoul fan, you should know. Unravel is the opening song of Tokyo Ghoul. So, yeah, just to see these three characters singing it, I'm like, oh, fourth wall breaking. Like, what the fuck? It's their theme song. Like, they're straight up singing their theme song. They're fucking singing their song. Like, there's one thing I'll say about the anime of Tokyo Ghoul. The music was fucking badass. That's all I'm gonna say. And so, them singing the song, you're like, Ashita, you're good man. You're a good man. Okay. So, the next segment, we talk about the situation at CCG, and Furuta making his moves. Ui also showing that he's being a very good leader, but also the other members dealing with a lot of paperwork and issues since Clown is attacking a bunch of different wards and causing a lot of issues, and, blaming it on Kaneki. And with this, we see that it's just a very dire matter right now, and Furuta comes out of nowhere and is like, I have a plan. I have a plan of what we can do. And, of course, Furuta would have a plan. This is a man that's with every organization. He knows everything that's kind of going on. He knows about the clowns. He's the one that's orchestrating it in the first place. So he kind of knows. He has the inside plans. But what Furuta does say, though, is pretty damn good, though. I have to say, even as someone that's not, even if he wasn't a part of it, it's still a very good plan. I respect the plan he brought up and all that. It didn't seem like he knew too much about the clowns, like how they were operating. He brought up all his information from facts that, CCG is already well aware of. For instance, them knowing about the clowns from the past, the previous fights. And the way Furuta talks about it, he's like, okay, so right now, the entire clown operation, what they're doing right now, attacking all the wards, they're separated into two groups, the A group and the B group, okay? And this A group and B group, they are in a big group, and they go out on different sides to attack different wards. And then once they're done attacking that ward, they split into more little groups, and they attack other wards, and they slowly keep splitting to attack more and more. So, let's say they have like 30 members on Group A, 30 members on Group B, which we know they have more than that. I'm just throwing out, a smaller number. They have these groups, and then they split them down. And then let's say when they split into two, they go down to 15 each, and vice versa. As they continue to go and attack more, they, go and split their groups even more, and the numbers are getting thinner and thinner, while they're spreading out and attacking the different wards and taking down, these CCG headquarters, like these different type of little stations throughout the entirety of this place. And when you eventually get to it, you find out that these clowns, the different groups that split off, like A and B that split off, they never go back to attack the other wards they already attacked. For instance, let's say they attack Ward 13, like the 13th ward, they won't go back there again. Once they're done attacking like 14, 15, or whatever, they won't go back to the 13th ward. They just refuse to, because it's already been nailed down with a bunch of protection. There's a bunch of bodyguards there, and like CCG agents, they just can't go back in. It's just, it would be risky, suicidal, and it would just be outright stupid. So the clowns never attack a ward they've already attacked. They just spread out and continue, and judging by this, Furuta is kind of nailing down what is their next point to attack. What will they attack right now? What will they go after next, since they've spread out their forces and they've done all this, and they've caused CCG to put all their forces out in these different parts and different wards? And what is said next makes perfect sense. Groups A and B will go after the 9th or 18th ward, right, Furuta boy? And on paper, it kind of seems like that would be what's going on, if we didn't have prior information of how the clowns operate, how they actually go after their targets. And so, once again, even if, okay, even if Furuta wasn't a part of the clowns and everybody else and knowing what's going on, the way he presents this information makes sense. It's not something to seem like he knows too much about what's going on with the clowns. It just seems like he looked up a lot of information, realized what's going on, and now he's presenting it on the board. So he's showing his skills as a leader, since we know he's going to be the Washu King, and he's taking over what, Matsuri wants. So, with this, Furuta comes up with a very good tactic, and everybody thinks that, they'll probably go after the 9th or 18th ward, but that is incorrect. What we found out is there will be a next group, a new group, Group C. Now, as you know, we only thought there was 2 groups, Group A and B, that split up and was spreading out the forces of CCG agents all across the entirety of different wards, and so it's spreading the forces, the army thin. So, if you have this large army, they were spreading it out for there's less of the army to where their main target would be, and that would be CCG headquarters, where they're at right now. And so their main attack force, Group C, which is the main central army of the clowns, could go in like an arrow and take down the main headquarters, take down the general, so to say. I've been reading too much Kingdom, by the way. So when you see it like this, you have it to where Furuta comes up with a sound strategy. Like, what they're doing right now just proves that the clowns, they always do this. They always have been doing this. They always make it to where they spread out forces, they use different groups, and then they attack the heart. They go in and go straight after the main heart of the main objective they want to accomplish. For instance, CCGE headquarters right now. And Furuta's like, this is what's happened. Right now, all our personnel, they're all spread out, and so our entire heart of CCG is just wide out in the open. Like, they can come and attack us right now, and there's nothing we can do. Because when your forces are spread so thin, even if you put up a shield, it's not going to block it. Because there's gaps in between the shield, which Furuta demonstrates for how an arrow just goes straight through it. Which all the wards, since they're just so spread out now, there's nothing they can do. So, right now, they can't make the personnel leave the different wards they're protecting, because then the clowns will just attack those wards once again, so they can't leave their position. So Furuta says, like, yes, we need to protect our heart, but we can't bring our members back from the previous wards, so we need to somehow figure out a way to protect our main center, but also be able to protect everything else, because if we move them, they're just going to get attacked by the clowns, so we can't leave this out in the open. But since, our force is so spread thin, they can just come in anywhere they want and probably take us out, mainly our main heart, CCG headquarters. So, the only option available right now is to have a repeat of what happened in the past. As we know, Arima was assigned to fight off the clowns in the past. And with this, we need a new Arima. And the new Arima will be Suzuya. Now, this right here, I'm just gonna say, Death Flag. Death Flag motherfucking central. Death Flag motherfucking central. Like, this is Death Flag. That is such a big Death Flag for Suzuya. It is just crazy right now. I don't know if Ishida will kill off the character, because Furuta's flirted with death a lot throughout the past, but this right here, I don't know. I mean, Furuta is the type of character we don't know. I mean, this man's all sorts of fucked. And so, I mean, Suzuya, I have no idea. There's 2 potential possibilities I see happening here, okay? 2. Number 1, okay? Number 1, Suzuya's going to encounter Kaneki somehow. When Kaneki goes to the lab to try to get stuff. That's number 1. Number 2, since we know Furuta has connection to the clown, he controls the clown side, and we know he's the one that's really making the clowns attack whenever time that he wants them to attack. This means him setting up Suzuya as an Arima is probably not a good thing. This might be Furuta trying to kill Suzuya, get him gone. For instance, Furuta might put Uta to come out and attack Suzuya and kill him, or someone like Donato. So that's the potential possibility right now, that Donato, Uta, the main big clown members could pop up to come after Suzuya, and this is just a huge-ass death flag for this character right now. Because, I mean, we know there's been a little bit of things that many have looked at Suzuya as he should be the next Arima, but I mean, right now, with Furuta being the one calling the shots and saying what you should be doing, that's not good at all. So, death flag right here for Suzuya. I'm kind of scared for him right now, just because of Furuta being the one to lead this operation, and kind of judging who should be where, going up against the main attack force of the clowns coming in for CCG headquarters. Yeah, as you know, the main attack force, Group C, is coming, so that means the big members of Clown have to be a part of it, so Suzuya is probably going to fight Donato and Uta. Easily. So I'm kind of fearful. I'm fearing for Suzuya's life right now. We'll see where Ishida takes that. So the next thing to talk about, let's talk about how Matsuri, he's kind of being left out of the battle plans. He's not going to be told about anything that's really going on at all. He's going to be completely left out, and you see Furuta, he just smiles. He just smiles at Ui and all that. He just gives a nice, good smile, and so this is probably very bad. For Furuta to give that, like, evil, sadistic smile to Ui, we know for a fact there's probably something bad that's going to happen to this character. We know for a long time that Ui has had death flags planted on his head. We know he's been built up for a while. We know he got a little bit of interesting character development in recent chapters, but with Furuta smiling like that, it probably is not a pleasant outcome. There's probably something very bad that's probably going to happen to Ui, and so it may not be Suzuya, but it could be Ui that dies, or something else. Maybe they both die. Just, I'm throwing it out there that with the emphasis on the smile of Furuta, something bad is about to happen. So after the board meeting, Ui has a convo with Kuro and talks to him about Urei and how Urei already figured out kind of what was going to be going on and all that. And Ui's like, man, it's kind of a waste. This man's falling underneath Matsuri and all that, being his dog. He's kind of on the wrong side to be following that type of people. He's a bad judge of, you know, character. But Ui doesn't realize that Urei has been wanting that the entire time. He's underneath Matsuri because he can drag out Matsuri from under the table, just drag him down, and Urei can be the one on top. Ui doesn't realize that. He doesn't realize that at all, what Urei is really trying to accomplish right now. So, yeah. I mean, Urei's still kind of sneaking his way up the rankings. Ui doesn't understand. He just thinks that, you know, Urei doesn't have a really good judge of character. Anyways, the next part is something that truly just blows me the fuck away. And I don't even know what to say right now besides fucking death flag. Like, nothing happy can be happy in Tokyo Ghoul. I've read this series too long to think that everything is going to be fine. It's just, no. That does not happen. That does not happen. Ashita does not do that. He doesn't, no. Ashita likes giving you this happy image and then just dragging you through the fucking darkness while he's like, yeah, I got you. And that's kind of how Ashita is. He just loves dragging you right into that darkness and you feel like you're all happy. And seeing this right here, just seeing this announcement for marriage, okay? Yoriko and Kuro's announcement. Like, Kuro's like, you want to get married? He just asked her. We don't see her answer. She just seems absolutely shocked. She's like what? She's like, what the fuck? And then you have Saika, she just spits out her fucking drink. She's like, what the fuck? And she just starts spitting out her drink. And you just see him, he's just like, what the fuck? He's just trying to block himself. He's like, I can't. I mean, the entire situation, it's just like, tragic. You know why it's tragic? Because this is not going to be a happy ending for this. It's just not. If anything, from what we know previously when it comes to relationship in Tokyo Ghoul, it tends to end in tragedy. Let's think about this, okay? Let's just think about this. A relationship. Freaking Toka's family. Perfect fucking example. Nishiki's fiance. Look at where she's at right now. She's with Dr. Khan. We don't even know what the fuck is going on with that. Kaneki and Rize, the fucking, I mean, all these other characters, any relationship people form and try to be with ends up pretty fucking bad. I mean, yeah, so, I'm just gonna say right now, Yoriko's probably gonna die, or Kuro's probably gonna die. One of these two characters probably gonna die. Just saying right now, probably something bad's gonna happen because of that. And then, there's another possibility too. I mean, let's just say these characters don't die, okay? Let's just go on a limb here and say these characters don't die. Kuro might be someone that could help out Kaneki's side, because Yoriko has a connection with Toka. Toka and Yoriko, they go way back. They're good friends. And so with, you know, Yoriko, Toka being friends, and if Kuro finds out about their friendship and eventually finds out about her being a ghoul, that would mean that Kuro would be forced to take her in or kill her or whatever. And maybe Yoriko wouldn't want that, and since he's in love with Yoriko, he might keep that secret and then eventually find out about the organization GOAT. So when you think about it like this, those are two potential possibilities right now. Either A, one of them are gonna fucking die. They both might die, because if anything I know about Tokyo Ghoul, happiness does not last long. Just, no, Ashida's too evil for that. So, either tragedy's gonna happen, or this is set up for Kuro joining the ranks of Kaneki. Just saying. So with that being said, I want to end this video here. I gotta say, oh, this video turned out a little bit longer than I thought it was. I thought it was only gonna be a 25 or 30 minute video, but damn. Anyways, you all have a wonderful day or nights wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.